Here's your news for February 25th. According to documents released this month by the Department of Justice, the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein appears to have successfully hidden a trove of potential evidence of his crimes from investigators for more than a decade. Internal correspondence between Epstein's attorneys and private investigators, as well as previously sealed court filings, suggest that the disgraced financier went to extreme lengths to hide the potential evidence during the critical 3-year period when local and federal law enforcement began investigating him. Now, this was before he secured a plea deal that allowed him to avoid a lengthy prison sentence. Less than 2 weeks before the Palm Beach Police Department raided his mansion in October of 2005, a private investigator retained by Roy Black, a criminal defense lawyer for Epstein, removed that evidence, which included computers, more than 24 phone directories, and sexually explicit material. State and federal prosecutors appeared to have never accessed the materials while they investigated Epstein, potentially shielding him from criminal exposure and contributing to how he was able to evade justice for more than a decade. Not that anyone's going to give a crap about this new development or anything else about this story. It seems that every filthy thing that comes out, people just look the other way. A Shark Tank star who helped create the popular Squatty Potty. I have to admit, I have purchased one of these, have it in my house right now, kind of want to throw it out now, but he was arrested and charged with child porn. Robert Edwards was arrested earlier this month in Utah. The 50-year-old was allegedly accused of buying images of child sex abuse material. What is it with these guys? You have this Squatty Potty guy. You had the Subway sub, Jared, who was also in prison. He's in prison now for child porn. And if you haven't watched that documentary, highly recommend it. He was so disgusting. And the fact that it was able to go on for so long is crazy. And it actually was a reporter who broke the case, not investigating on purpose, but she was interviewing him for a segment, and he said something creepy about a teenager to her, and that just got the ball rolling. Edwards, who first appeared on the show Shark Tank back in 2011, is accused of purchasing the material between March of 2021 and November of 2025. According to the U.S. Attorney's Office, an undercover FBI agent encountered Edwards in an online chat room where he was viewing a collection of child porn in March of 2021. As their investigation continued, they say he used PayPal to buy the material in May of 2025. Call me crazy, but perhaps there should be some sort of child porn firewall on PayPal. Maybe I'm crazy. In November of last year, a search warrant was carried out at his home, which he shares with his husband and 4 kids, where authorities seized a cell phone. So he was formally charged with receipt of child porn, pleaded guilty during his first court appearance. He is being held without bail. Cuba's Coast Guard killed 4 people on a speedboat from Florida who opened fire off the Cuban coast today. Now, the Cuban Interior Ministry says that they opened fire. The ship was 1 nautical mile northeast of Cuba when 5 members of Border Guard troops approached the boat for identification. They say that the people on the speedboat began shooting, and then they fired back. No idea why they were in this area. They're not saying yet the identities of the 4 victims who were on this boat, but the Department of Homeland Security and the Coast Guard are looking into the incident. The latest in the Nancy Guthrie case, the FBI spent several hours at Nancy Guthrie's Arizona home today conducting one more sweep for evidence before deciding whether her family can return to the property. Now, Nancy Guthrie is the mother of Today's Show host Savannah Guthrie, the development signals that the investigation into the 84-year-old's abduction is at a standstill. She's now been missing for 25 days. Let that sink in. 25 days. And Savannah Guthrie just released another video statement where she said that the family's offering $1 million and talked about how she was taken from her bed. And one thing I heard today in a podcast was that she needed hearing aids, and they were very strong hearing aids, so that if she took them out, she probably would not have been able to hear someone breaking into her house. The whole story is baffling. There's a lot of conspiracy theories out there because Savannah Guthrie did interview victims, Jeffrey Epstein's victims. The whole thing makes no sense. Why her if they didn't take anything? Were the ransom demands even real? The case is baffling. Sources say that the investigators were looking for evidence on the porch, in the house. They do have a laundry list of things that they recovered. There was traces of blood on the front walkway. Supposedly got some DNA, but it's very difficult to break it apart. It was what I heard on another show, that it's a partial DNA, and they sent it to this lab in Florida, which is supposed to be one of the best in the world that helps solve case. In fact, they were the ones who ended up helping find Brian Koberger, who killed those college students in Idaho. The police chief in Arizona says it could take a year to analyze all the DNA. Now, this story is wild. You got teachers having sex with students. You've got the world is falling apart. Parents at a Queens elementary school were shocked and outraged after learning that the assistant principal at their kid's school was allegedly moonlighting as a high-end pimp. Bond, I don't even know how to say his last name because it's just NG. I don't know. I don't know how you say that. There's no vowel. Bond NG 47, an administrator in charge of school safety, allegedly arranged $2,000 an hour dates with a Los Angeles-based woman as recently as late December. He made $173,000 a year working at the school, but apparently that wasn't enough, and he decided he was going to get into the pimping business, and pimping ain't easy. They found out about this, and then they questioned him after he got off a plane from Colombia at the JFK airport, and they were told, the investigators, that he was the manager of these sex workers. So one of the alleged bookings that he did happened at a very fancy hotel in New York. This assistant principal, according to the school, has been reassigned. He won't be at this building anymore. Oliver Power Grant, the business mastermind behind the Wu-Tang Clan, has died at the age of 52. The cause of his death has not yet been revealed. Tributes have been pouring in all day from Wu-Tang members, including Method Man and others. The Wu-Tang Clan was formed in Staten Island in 1992, quickly becoming one of hip-hop's most influential groups. And finally, this story blows my mind. Honestly, I never thought about this until I read this article. Do you know, or have you ever wondered, where the T in t-shirt comes from? So online people were like trying to guess what it was. And some people were guessing that it's because T is for terrific. You look great in it. It's a top shirt. No, the truth is that the T in t-shirt is because if you lay it out flat, it makes the letter T. It's that simple. It's that simple. The first manufactured t-shirt, fun fact, came during the Spanish-American War in 1898. In 1913, the U.S. Navy began using them as undershirts, and then they gained popularity in the 20th century. Well, that is the news for today.